What is up, everyone, and welcome to another Bitcoin market update. In these videos, you will learn how to use technical analysis to forecast price movements in your favorite cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and others. So in this video, we're going to be covering Bitcoin's price action starting on the weekly time frame. We'll work our way down to the 12-hour time frame and also the 6-hour time frame. And we'll talk about a couple different elements that I am looking at in price to determine where we might be going next. So let's dive into Bitcoin here on the weekly time frame. So right now we are charging up at a feverish pace with the weekly candle closing in about 2 hours. And you can see that right now this candle has followed through like we talked about being likely after this last weekly candle opened last week. We said it's likely that over the course of the week we'll go above the previous weekly high up at about 42,624, and the reason for that is because of the candlestick previous has a shorter upper wick of profit taking and a longer body, so that's signifying bullish momentum. In addition to that, we also had increasing bull volume here. So it's looking like we're pretty close here to getting increasing bull volume again for another subsequent week this week, but we'll see how that candle ends up closing in 2 hours roughly. So what I would imagine is, with this candle close being the way that it is, what I think is going to happen next week is I think we're going to come up and we are going to have one of those candlesticks that is our first bearish candlestick in 3 candlesticks. So we'll probably come up into the resistance here on the pivot, which is right up at about 46.3, if not maybe up to 47,000 up to about 50,000, I would say, that kind of range. And then probably have an upper wick of profit taking, and we'll see if we end up actually closing next week with a bearish candlestick with on my chart at least, a black body, or if you're looking at a traditional, a red body. So if that does end up happening, that's just fine for the bulls. That means that we'll set our our higher high, and we will then look to come down and form a higher low, somewhere above the previous low here from 29,254. So because of the magnitude of this move up, it's very likely that we will set a higher low once we do end up coming back down. And now this will also potentially turn this R1 pivot into a support level for price as well. So let's look at the old 3-day time frame. So from a 3-day perspective, you can see that this last 3-day candle that closed yesterday was very bullish, with a longer lower wick of people buying the dip, and then a very long body with a short upper wick of people taking profits. We haven't had much follow through from the bulls since this candle has closed, but we still have 2 days and 3 hours left, so there's plenty of time for us to go into this gray resistance level. Now, what I imagine is going to happen here is, once the weekly candle closes, people are going to price in over the next 7 days the fact that that candlestick is bullish, and this will see some continuation up to this gray resistance up at about 47K, and that is from our 3-day level back here. Forgot I had the drawing tool on. Our 3-day level back here. This is when we had our bull trend right here. So if we remember, our bull trend is 4 elements in sequential order. It's a low, which we get right here, a high right here, a higher low signifying decreasing sell pressure, because we were not able to go lower in price here in comparison to this drawdown, and then a higher high, which is what we get right here. So that's our bull trend. So this last down candle where people are selling is going to be the candle in question here for potential support, and that's what we see right here. We come into it, support, we go to our new all-time high right here. We come back down into it again pretty significantly, and we bounce off of it a second time. And then when we come into it the third time right here, we push through that zone and we close below it. So now this will likely be a resistance zone for price on retest. If we go to the single day time frame, one thing I want to point out here is the potential for a RSI bearish divergence. So you can see this is one of the most clear, this is almost as clear as it gets when it comes to bearish divergences. So you look at the RSI, you have very clear two highs, and this high is lower than this high. So we're having decreasing strength on this rise in price. And so that's what we're seeing right now. Although the price went up above this previous high, if we come down in the next few days, that RSI will become valid. It's just a matter of, how far of a drawdown will we see if that does end up confirming over the next coming days. Like I said, it's going to depend. But even if it does, I would say that that is likely a buying opportunity. And the reason for that is because of the magnitude of this move. So if we look at this, this is about 22% up from the low that we set on August 5th. So to come down and break to a new lower low, we would need to draw down about 18%. So I don't think that's very likely on the daily time frame. I think it's more likely we set a higher low somewhere and then come up to potentially make a higher high. So that is what I will be watching for on the daily time frame. A couple other things I'm watching for is this potential edge-to-edge trade still finishing up here. So you can see every day we're getting a little bit closer to reaching our target of 47K that we've been talking about for several days now. So this trade still panning out very well for the Bitcoin bulls. And then if we look at this from a pivots perspective, we have our pivot level down here that we already had price bounce off of right here. And then we also have our R1 pivot up here, which is up at about 46,200. This is right around that pivot on the weekly time frame that we looked at. So if we look at this from a weekly perspective, you can see this is up at about 46,200 as well. So that is something, that is a zone to keep an eye on, in my opinion. All right, lower time frame, 12 hour. So on the 12-hour time frame, we are coming into and rejecting off of this yellow resistance level. So this yellow resistance level is the one we've been talking about for a while, back in our bear trend right here. So this level had a rejection here. You can see that based on this lower wick that went below the previous candle's low. So we came into it here, came down, people bought the dip very hard. We pushed back up into it, and now we're coming down again. And now where is our closest support? This is going to be, well, before I show you the purple one, we have this gray one down here, which is a pretty significant support level. And this is down at about 40,300 from the 12-hour time frame. And you can see that once we pushed into this level here, it was resistance. We came above it now. So now if we retest, that's going to be where we look for a potential bounce. The other area for a potential bounce is this area that we're currently looking to bounce off of as we speak. So this is this purple zone right here, this long candlestick on the 6-hour time frame. So this is when we had our bull trend right here. So we have our low, high, higher low, and then higher high. And once we come back into this zone right here, you can see price is reacting to this zone already, and we're bouncing off of this. And you could even take this down from the wicks and say we're just going to call the candle bodies where we had our rejection right here. We're going to call that the support zone, and you can see that that is where price is bouncing off of as of the current moment. One thing I wanted to point out, for those of you that are just getting started in technical analysis, you can change on TradingView the way that price action is depicted on your screen by going up to this little icon right here that says candles. And if you go into there, you have all these different options for the way you can make the candles look. And if you go online and do some research, you can find out how to actually read these different things. But one thing I wanted to show you was the line version of price. So this simplifies, you can see how it simplifies the way the price looks on the screen, so it's easier to decipher highs and lows and trends. So you can see here is a very clear trend. We have a low, high, higher low, and then higher high, right? So this is one way for you to also analyze prices, to look at the line chart. And one of the nice things about the line chart is it cuts out all the noise. So when you're looking at candlesticks, sometimes, like if we go back to the candlesticks, sometimes they can have these noisy wicks. You know, they go down very significantly or up very significantly as well sometimes. And so this is where, you know, like right here, this is where you use your line tool. And now let's look at this zone right here. Look at all these wicks. Now when we turn on the line, you can see it removes all those wicks, and it's very clean price action. It's very easy to see what is going on with the price action, and it's kind of this slow fade down before eventually we get our bounce, right? So that's another way for you guys to analyze price. So I hope that is helpful for you as well. Some of these other ones, I like the Heiken and Ashi as well. These are good for reading trends. So they depict green and red candlesticks much differently. And they show up much differently than traditional candlesticks. So you're not going to read these the same as you read regular candlesticks. Do some research to find out how you can read Heiken and Ashi candles, because the way that they are formatted is not the same as traditional candlesticks, even though they look very similar to traditional candlesticks. So those are a couple different options for you. That's all I got for this one, guys. If you like this video, give it a like down below and subscribe for future educational content around cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. And if you have any ideas for what you would like to see next in different video series or tutorials or guides that we put out on Leutheria, put it in the comment section below and we will check that out. And I would love to see what you guys have in mind, what you guys would like to see. I'd be happy to make some of those videos for you guys for your benefit. And also, if you haven't checked out already our Global Leutheria Telegram channel, this is a free channel that you can join with people from over 14 different countries that are all interested in cryptocurrency and blockchain technology as well. You can discuss a variety of different crypto-related topics with people in there. Every Sunday, we do these live community chats where we discuss a variety of different cryptocurrency-related topics. This week, we talked about the U.S. Infrastructure bill and the wider cryptocurrency ecosystem implications for that. And then we also talked about EIP 1559 and the implications that has on the individual investor, as well as Ethereum, the protocol. And then we also talked about some other stuff as well. So you can check that out and join that for free using the link in the description below. And until tomorrow, onward and upward.